all, Tom Moran here from Tom's Big Spiders. Well, today we're going to try something really different, and honestly, I don't know why I didn't think of this before. But basically, we're going to be playing Guess That Tarantula, and here's how it's going to work. I'm going to put some tarantulas up on the screen. I'm going to give some clues after a minute, and then you're going to try to guess which species it is. So this one kind of came about when I was talking to one of my students who said he likes to go through my videos and try to guess which species it is before the label comes up. Then I was talking to a couple other viewers that said they do the exact same thing, which is great because I usually purposefully wait to identify the spider for a couple seconds to give people a chance to guess it. I know when I first got into the hobby, I'd be on message boards or Facebook groups and somebody would post up a picture and say, what species is this? And I would be floored when somebody would come on and just be able to name it just by looking at it. And I was hoping one day I'd be able to do the same thing. And now in most cases I am, and it's something I'm proud of because it took a long time to get there. This isn't something that comes easy. It takes a long time being immersed in the hobby, looking at pictures, looking at things online, keeping them yourself before you can look at it and go, that's which species that is. So I know a lot of people like doing this and practicing it. So I figured, what the heck, let's do a little fun quiz or test that'll allow folks to kind of go on and test their knowledge or test their ability to identify some of the more popular tarantula species that are sold in the hobby. So this is how it's going to work. There are going to be 3 rounds. Round 1, they're pretty easy. I tried to pick species that most folks that are just getting into the hobby are doing research on, so hopefully they'll have already had some exposure to them. The second round, we're going to break it open a little bit. There'll be some more old world, some more, I don't want to say obscure, but spiders they might not have looked at yet or researched yet. And then the bonus round, there's only going to be 2 in that one. And what we're going to do is present 2 more obscure species and see who can get them. So I think round 1, they'll be worth 5 points. Round 2, they'll be worth 10 points. And round 3, the bonus round, they will be worth 20 points each for a total of 190 points. So let's see what you guys can do. I actually picked spiders that I can identify. I will tell you, at least one on this list, I struggle with the genus. And that brings up another point. For this one, ideally, you'd like to be able to know the species and the genus, the scientific name. So, for example, the Grammostola pulchra would be what we're looking for. However, if you're able to say G. pulchra, I think that counts, quite frankly. It means you know which spider it is, you just don't know the genus name. And I think for this one, if you know the common name, we're going to count it. But the goal is always to try to get those scientific names down as well. So, enough of me talking. Let's try to guess that tarantula. Okay, here we go. Round 1 of Guess That Tarantula. These are the easier ones. They are worth 5 points each. Ideally, we want the scientific name with the genus and the species, but I'll give you credit for getting the common name if that's what you have. All right, here we go. This is the spider. And here are our clues. Number 1, although the World Spider Catalog lists this terrestrial fossorial as originating from Costa Rica, there are variants sold from Honduras and Nicaragua. Number 2, the species was originally in the genus Brachypelma. And number 3, it is widely recognized for its perpetual bad hair day. That should be a good clue. Okay, obviously we are talking about Cleitocotyle albopilosus, or the curly-haired tarantula. This here is my female T. albo that I picked up as a young adult way back in November of 2015. Although she has never been a defensive spider, mine has always been a bit shy and skittish, and she spends a lot of time these days hiding in her burrow, especially if she's disturbed. Most folks, however, report very calm adults, and this species often appears on any best beginner tarantula species list. In fact, the one I did where I asked keepers, I believe it was number 1. All right, here is our second spider. And here are our clues. Number 1, this is a very large terrestrial species from Brazil. Number 2, they are super popular and considered to be a good beginner species. And number 3, females can reach 10 inches in leg span or 25 centimeters. All right, do you know what it is? Hopefully you put the Lasiodora parahybana, or the salmon bird eater, or salmon pink bird eater. This here is my adult female Big Bertha. I got Big Bertha back in February of 2014 as a 4-inch sex juvenile. She was actually a birthday gift from my wife, Billy, who heard me whining about the fact that the sling I bought wasn't putting on size fast enough, so she decided to jumpstart it and get me this amazing female here. Now, Big Bertha is a solid 9¼ inches or 24 centimeters. She's a giant. She eats like a pig and is always out in the open. I have to say there was a period where I was a bit ambivalent about this species, but this giant lady has definitely won me over. All right, here we have number 3. And for clues, number 1, this terrestrial originates from Mexico, where thousands were pulled from the wild in the 80s and 90s to be sold in the pet trade. It is now protected under CITES. Number 2, a hobby staple. This species was once considered the poster child of the hobby. And number 3, many report that their adult females are quite calm and tractable. Now, there's a couple species that look like this, but this one here is actually Brachypelma smithi, or Smith's red knee. This here is one of my young adult B. smithi that I'm currently raising up. Although both of mine went through a very skittish stage for a couple of years in which they would bolt and kick hairs when disturbed, they have both calmed down for the most part a great deal since then. I kind of laughed because as I was taking this video, this one kicked up several clouds of hair. Now, back in the early 80s, fun fact, this was actually the first tarantula I ever saw in person. My dad would bring me to a pet store, and this was the centerpiece of the pet store. I was enamored by it. Next up, we have number 4. And here are the clues. Number 1, this colorful arboreal species is found on Martinique Island in the Lesser Antilles. Number 2, this species was originally in the genus Avicularia. And number 3, folks new to the hobby often struggle to grow slings to adulthood. All right, here we have a gorgeous spider and an incredibly popular spider, the Carabina versicolor, or the Antilles pinktoe. The Carabina versicolor really is one of the jewels of the hobby. I raised my first female up from a tiny blue sling many years ago, and later had the good fortune to pair her. This female that you're seeing here is actually one of the slings that she produced, and she has turned into quite the stunning young lady. Although this species is highly sought after by folks new to the hobby, they are sadly a bit finicky when it comes to their care, so I tend to get a lot of emails and messages from folks who are struggling to keep theirs alive. Number 5. And here are the clues. This dwarf terrestrial comes from Chile, where adult females were harvested and sold into the pet trade for years. Number 2, it has a reputation for being the most docile and friendly tarantula in the trade. And number 3, it was originally sold under the name Euthlus species red. I think people that have been around for a while are probably going to get this one pretty easily. This is Homeoma chilensis, or the Chilean flame. Many years ago, adult females of this species were cheap and readily available in the hobby. During that time, I picked up a few, and they were all the most gentle spiders that I have ever kept. Not only were they calm, but also quite inquisitive, often climbing out of their enclosures to explore. Now, although I never promote handling, this was the first spider that I ever held. I was a lifetime arachnophobe, and it was a very profound moment where she just kind of climbed out into my hand. But remember, the spiders get nothing out of it, and it can be dangerous to both of you. Sadly, this lovely lady that you see here passed away from old age a couple of years ago, but I definitely need to get another one of these in my collection. All right, we are on number 6. Here's the spider. And now for our clues. This heavy webbing terrestrial comes from Venezuela. Although recommended as a beginner, they can be fast and skittish. And in the wild, they can be found on the ground in crevices, under brush, or several feet off the ground in holes and crooks of trees. This here is the Chromatopelma cyanopubescens, or cyanopubescens, the green bottle blue, or GBB. This here is the 3rd GBB that I'm raising up, and she's due for a rehousing soon. My first 2 I grew up from slings, and they quickly became 2 of my favorite spiders and one of my favorite species of tarantulas. This is a spider that generally enjoys a bit of height with its enclosure, as long as you include plants and vines and things to anchor webbing to. My last 2 thrived in 12-inch or 30-centimeter cubes. If they filled with webbing, they were always visible, and as you can see by those colors, they are stunning spiders, even as slings. Number 7, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, the species is native to the United States. Number 2, the species will use scrapes or dig burrows in the wild. And number 3, it is often mentioned in the discussion for best beginner tarantula species. Here we have the Aphanopelma calcodes, or Arizona blonde. If I'm being honest, when I first got into the hobby, I kind of turned my nose up to Aphanopelma species because for some reason I thought, hey, if they're available in the US, they're not very exotic. Boy, was I an idiot. I got my first Nikki several years ago. At the time, she was listed under Aphanopelma schmidti, but it is now considered to be Aphanopelma calcodes, and she won me over. After that, I picked up a tiny sling because when I got Nikki, she was a juvenile and I wanted to grow one completely up from slinghood. And that's the spider you're seeing here. This one, compared to some of my other Aphanopelma species, has been growing rather quickly. She got her adult colors very early on. And like Nikki, she is a very lively, visible, and curious spider. All right, number 8. And our clues. Number 1, this species can be found in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania, Angola, Zambia, Mozambique, and South Africa. Number 2, although they may be fossorial, many will choose to web up their enclosures. And number 3, despite this species' terrible reputation, most find that if you give it room, they are more shy and skittish than defensive. All right, I'm hoping most people got this one. This one here is Tarantula murinus, or the OBT. When first researching tarantulas years ago, I discovered an article that named the OBT as one of the best beginner tarantula species due to its amazing hardiness. However, after doing some more reading, I soon learned that this species had a reputation for being super quote-unquote aggressive and nasty, earning it the nickname Orange Bitey Thing. Well, over the past 13 years or so, I've kept over a dozen of them, and I honestly haven't had a single issue with any of them. The trick is to give them a bit of extra height so that they can have some space to do some webbing and some space away from you. This here is my female RCF, or red color form, from Usambara. Number 9. Here are the clues. This gorgeous fossorial is found on Yemen's Socotra Island. This species is often successfully kept in communes in captivity. And number 3, the spider is an amazing mother, killing prey for its young so they can feed on it. I'm guessing most folks are going to get this one. This is obviously the Monocentropus balfouri, or the Socotra Island blue baboon. I currently keep 6 of this species, an almost 12-year-old female that lives alone and 5 9-year-old females that live together in a communal setup. When this species first came into the hobby in the early 2000s, they were coveted for their beautiful appearance. Blue tarantulas are very popular, and this species' blue legs, cream body, and pearlescent blue carapace made it quite the looker. At one time, they were believed to be difficult to produce, as slings often failed to thrive. However, keepers soon learned that the slings should always be kept with their mothers for a few molts, as moms feed and nurture their babies. In my opinion, this species is one of the most fascinating of all tarantulas. Number 10, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, the shy arboreal is from India and packs a medically significant bite. Number 2, it is one of the most popular blue spiders in the hobby. And number 3, this species is critically endangered due to habitat loss in the pet trade and is protected under CITES. Well, I got a funny feeling a lot of people are going to get this one as well. This is the Poecilotheria metallica, or the Goody sapphire ornamental. So speaking of blue tarantulas, the P. metallica remains one of the most popular in the hobby today. I can remember when I first started researching tarantula species and I stumbled across a photo of a P. metallica. I turned to my wife Billy and said, "This has to be a Photoshop." Nope, it was the real deal. Unfortunately, this species, although shy, is very fast and packs a potent bite. So it's not a great species for those just starting out in the hobby. That said, for people who have some experience, especially with the rehousings, they can be very rewarding to keep. All right, so tally up your points. We are now moving on to round 2. These will be worth 10 points each. Remember, ideally, we're looking for scientific name, but give yourself some credit if you got the common name. Here is species 11. This species was originally sold under the name Caudus violet. Number 2, spiders in this genus have a reputation for being large and very ornery. And number 3, females can reach 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters. Well, this is the only species on this list, the non-described species, but I'm hoping some folks will get it. This is Phormictopus species Dominican purple. Back in 2015, I picked up 2 little blue slings called Phormictopus species Caudus violets, and I was super excited to grow them up because they supposedly turn purple as adults. After a year, they were both sporting deep violet legs and pinkish purple carapaces. I still have both my big girls, now adults, and they are both around 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters. Although they went through a stage where they were both super defensive, bolting around and throwing up threat postures, they have since calmed down quite a bit, and as you can see, we're nice enough to pose for these videos. Number 12. Here's the spider. And now our clues. Number 1, the skittish spider was originally in the genus Nandu and is from Brazil. Number 2, it is similar in appearance to the A. geniculata, but with a bright red abdomen. And number 3, this genus is known for having particularly potent urticating hairs. All right, this here, if you put Nandu chromatus, I'll take it, but the name has changed. It's a new genus. It's Vitalis chromatus, or the Brazilian red and white. I picked up this gorgeous weirdo here as a 1.5-inch sling back in 2014. At that time, she had done a bit of burrowing and often fled when disturbed. She also had a very odd and creepy habit of killing crickets, eating their heads, and then burying the rest of their bodies in the corner of her enclosure. I found her morbid stash after noticing flies infesting the inside of her cage, and when I dug it up, I found her stash of half-decomposed crickets. It was quite gross and kind of creepy. Although she's outgrown this behavior, it still cracks me up to this day. All right, number 13, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, this large, fast New World arboreal is from Trinidad and Tobago and is usually green. Number 2, unlike most New World species, this spider lacks urticating hairs. And number 3, it gets its common name from the patterning on its abdomen. All right, this here is Psalmopoeus cambridgei, or the Trinidad chevron. A decade ago, I chose the P. cambridgei as a freebie, declining a more expensive spider because I really wanted to try out a species from the genus Psalmopoeus. This big girl here grew up to be one of my favorite spiders and turned me on to the genus as a whole. Since then, I've been grabbing up every species of Psalmo that I can find. The species is big, eats great, grows quickly, and is usually quite visible, making it a good display spider. It's also quite hardy, making it a fun and easy sling to grow up for anyone prepared for some amazing speed. Number 14, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, this monstrous terrestrial is found in Guyana and Brazil. Number 2, the species is in the running for being one of the largest spiders in the world. And number 3, slings of this species have pink feet on the first 2 sets of legs. Now those clues should have helped you predict which one this is. This is Theraphosa sturmi, or the Burgundy Goliath bird eater. This is my big female Theraphosa sturmi. When I picked her up as an 1 3/4 or 4.5 centimeter sling, she was actually missing a leg. As tarantulas can regenerate lost limbs, I was excited to watch her grow it back. She is now a beefy 8 inches or 20 centimeters. This girl is fairly skittish, running to her burrow when disturbed, and I'm totally okay with that, as species in the Theraphosa genus are recognized as having particularly bad urticating hairs. Like their cousins, the T. blondie, these guys get huge, and there is a raging debate over which species is actually the largest. Number 15, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, these lithe, shy arboreals come from India. Number 2, despite a reputation for being defensive, the species is usually shy and will either hide or flatten out and use its natural camouflage when disturbed. And number 3, females can reach 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters in leg span. All right, here we have the Poecilotheria regalis, or the Indian ornamental. I absolutely love tarantulas with a black, white, and gray coloration. And in my opinion, perhaps no species sports these tones as well as the P. regalis. I got this female as a juvenile back in 2013, and she soon became a favorite. At this time, I had read a lot about this genus being very defensive, But my girl, like most of the Pokies I've raised since then, was always quite shy overall. Unfortunately, she passed away recently from old age, but at least I still have this video of her out in all of her glory. Number 16, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, this large terrestrial species comes from Brazil and Uruguay. It is often confused with Grammostola actaeon. And number 3, this species is supposedly the largest in the genus, with adult females reaching up to 8 inches or 20 centimeters. All right, hopefully those clues help you pick the right one. This is Grammostola iaringi, or the Entre Rios. Back in 2015, the dealer wasn't able to send the spider that I had ordered, but to make it up for me, they offered a substitute, a sexed young female G. iaringi. I had been researching this species for a while, but it was ridiculously expensive at the time, so I was elated with the offer. This girl immediately became a favorite, eating like a pig, molting with frequency, and putting on decent size with each molt. Unlike other Grammostola species that I kept, the iaringi are a bit more high-strung and active. My girl is now a leggy 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters, and she is usually quite visible, which is great because she is a very pretty spider. Number 17, here we go. There's the spider. Number 1, this old world spider hails from savanna biomes in the countries of Botswana, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe in southern Africa. Number 2, it is known for its foveal horn in the center of its carapace. And number 3, this species is fossorial and will often construct deep burrows with labyrinthine tunnels. All right, here we are looking at Ceratogyrus darlingi, or the rear-horned baboon. The C. darlingi has become a hobby classic due to its availability, calmer temperament for an old world, and of course, its awesome little rear-facing horn. These guys love to tunnel and will dig a maze of passages beneath the ground if given room. They will also do a bit of webbing on the surface as well. When disturbed, mine just retreat into their burrows. For folks looking to keep their first old world species, I will often recommend the C. darlingi or its cousin, the C. marshalli. Number 18, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, this feisty arboreal is found in West and Central Africa. Number 2, this species has a reputation for having a potent bite and a defensive disposition. And number 3, folks often struggle to differentiate this spider from the feather-legged baboon or the S. calceatum. Hopefully that last one helped you if you were kind of torn on which one it is. This is Heteroscodra maculata, or the Togo starburst baboon. As I mentioned earlier, I absolutely love black, white, and gray tarantulas, and the H-Mac definitely fits this bill. These are incredibly stunning spiders, and this just happens to be Billy's, my wife's, favorite species. Now, for years, this spider had a terrible reputation for being overly defensive, and their bites are supposed to be particularly nasty. Now, I've kept 3 of them over the past 12 years or so, and I found them to be very shy if given the room to web and create hides. So the trick is, give them an enclosure with some plants, some cork bark tubes, let them hide. If they're given the opportunity, they will usually retreat rather than stand their ground. Number 19, here is the spider. Clue number 1, this New World fossorial is found in French Guiana, Suriname, and Brazil, and has urticating hairs on its pedipalps. Number 2, its common name comes from the striking striping on its legs. And number 3, this species is fossorial, constructing deep burrows, often with turrets and moist substrate. And we're talking about the Ephebopus murinus, or the skeleton tarantula. I discovered the E. murinus back when I was first researching tarantula species to acquire, and to be honest, the horror fan in me loved the common name of skeleton tarantula. However, after reading that they were moisture dependent and had a bit of attitude, I decided to hold off for a while. After a few years, I picked up my first, and it ended up being a male. Then 3 years ago, a buddy sent me 3 slings, and I now have 2 gorgeous ladies. Both have done a ton of digging and have webbed up the entrances of their massive burrows, and I can usually find them sitting out in the entrances in the morning when I come up, or at night when it's lights out. Number 20, here is the spider. And here are the clues. Number 1, this South African species is often recommended as a good first old world. Number 2, although fossorial, this species will often web up its enclosure as well. And number 3, its common name comes from its metallic blue legs and golden body. That last one was probably a pretty good tip-off. This is Harpactira pulchripes, or the golden blue leg baboon. Back in 2013, I spent more money than I had ever spent on acquiring a single spider when I picked up my female H. pulchripes. At the time, the species was relatively new to the hobby, and I was hoping to grow mine up and show folks how to care for them correctly. Well, my little juvenile sex female grew into the beautiful adult female that you see here. This spider was amazing, being both calm and gentle and incredibly visible. Now, temperaments may always vary, but many folks will point to the H. pulchripes as a great spider for those looking to keep their first old world tarantula. All right, so that's it for round 2. Add up your points. Remember, 10 points each and no cheating. I know it's going to be tempting, but no cheating. Now we are on to round 3. These ones are going to be particularly difficult by design, and they're going to be worth 20 points each. So let's see what you guys can do. Number 21. Here is the spider. And here are the clues. This species is found in Cyprus, Turkey, Sudan, Egypt, and the Middle East. Number 2. They can come in gold or black depending on the region of origin. Number 3. Large colonies of the species have been filmed feeding on millipedes and living in close proximity to each other in a crypt. Anybody that follows my channel probably knows what this one is. This is Chaetopelma olivaceum, or the Middle Eastern black, the black furry, or the Middle Eastern gold. Years ago, I watched a video by the channel World of Spiders that showed a huge colony of C. olivaceum living in the stony walls of an old tomb. From that moment, I knew that I had to keep the spider, and for a couple of years, it was at the top of my wish list. Well, back in 2019, I picked up 2 slings from Fear Not Tarantulas, and although one matured out male, the other is this gorgeous lady here. Although they can come in more of a gold coloration, mine were both black with a gorgeous blue sheen after a molt. And although the species has a reputation for being ornery, my girl here has been very calm and visible. All right, number 22, the last one in the bonus round. All right, for our first clue, this cool little spider is from Costa Rica and Panama. Number 2, it's a unique New World species with a tiny foveal horn. And number 3, this is a fossorial species that can be quite shy. All right, who got this one? This is a tough one. This is Spherobothria hoffmanni, or the Costa Rican horned tarantula. I think that tarantula horns are probably the coolest thing ever. So when I learned that there was actually a New World species that sported a tiny horn, I had to have it. Therefore, I jumped at the chance to pick up this girl here when the opportunity arose. The first couple of years that I had her, she had dug deep tunnels and stayed hidden. In fact, she was one of the only spiders that I have kept that sealed herself in her burrow for a molt, shedded, and then didn't resurface. So I had to carefully open it up, drop in a pre-killed prey at them, and she immediately ate. So heads up with that. Recently, she's abandoned her burrow and has been much more visible, which is awesome because she's quite the little thing. But I think I'm going to rehouse her soon, put her into something else, and see if she wants to start burrowing again. So hopefully everyone had fun doing this, and hopefully you all did well. And remember, if you didn't, it's something that comes with time. I got a funny feeling that there's going to be some people that are going to be frustrated because they're like, man, I don't know any of these. That's fine. If I had done this 15 years ago, I would have not known most of these myself, the vast majority of them. But hopefully you didn't cheat either, because I know how easy that is. But what I'm hoping, if folks feel so inclined, I don't want this to turn into a bragging type thing, because I know when you do stuff like this, folks get kind of upset when they didn't do well. But if you'd like to post your score, if you'd like to post which ones you got, which ones maybe you got wrong, which ones you struggled with, if you think the difficulty worked, because I did struggle for a bit at first to try to figure out which ones to put in which category or which point value, then please chime in. I'd love to hear from you. And my goal is, if this is something people like, please let me know if you enjoy doing this. I have actually, when I was putting this list together, I made 2 other lists for future videos that we could do, that we could include more spiders in. I think it gives people an opportunity to kind of test their knowledge and how well they are able to identify some of these spiders. And for me, it's fun putting it together, being able to show off some of the species I keep, and being able to hopefully produce some cool facts that you may not have known about the spiders. So let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know how you did. If you don't want to say how you did, that's fine. Believe me, I get it. But hopefully you all had fun doing it regardless of what your score was. All right, so that will do it for this one. As always, if you liked it enough to subscribe, very much appreciate. Click a little circle up in there. If you'd like to check out more of my videos before, they're going to be down in here. If you take the time to comment, I will take the time to respond. Just know it can take me a little while. I tend to get a lot of comments. I get busy. Guys, as always, stay safe. We'll catch you all next time.